Hello again. In this extra session, we're going to talk about custom SQL in reports. So let's set up our use case. The project manager, we're going to go in. They have a blank landing page or cover page. They want to create a folder in here and we're just going to call it stakeholders, could call it project stakeholders, but they want to bring in a model view. So create diagram. And in this case, we're going to use extended dashboard diagram type, hit OK. We're going to open it and we have our toolbox where we have various elements that we can use for this diagram. Next, we're going to go down to dynamic viewpoints and let's open this up. And model view is available in dynamic viewpoints off many toolboxes and throughout. We're just going to drag one in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to double click to open up properties. We're in source. Let's create a custom SQL. Now you could create your SQL statement right here and get going, but what we're going to do is cancel out and we're going to go to search model, bring up the search engine. We're going to create a new SQL script and we're just going to call it test SQL, right? And we want to use the SQL editor. And here we go. We have a blank area to work in. So we write our SQL statement and then from here, we can test it. You can see it gives us the author name and the author role. And we use as statement. So it's name.project and project.role. We could go project.name if we wanted to. All right. I'm just doing this for the demonstration purposes. So we know that our SQL works. We'll go ahead and close this and we're going to open this back up. And we're going to apply that SQL that we tested here, and we're going to hit OK. And you can see that in the model view, it brought in our SQL. And we could come up here and name this model view, but I'm not going to do that in this demonstration. We'll do that later in a project. So let's create a custom report. So we're in the browser. We're going to go to resources. We're going to open up document publishing. And we're creating a custom template. So we're going to go here, go ahead and open it. This is what we have so far. So we're going to right click and we're going to create a template. And we're going to call this template model view element report, right? And it's going to be in the templates. And let's see here. We're not going to copy a template, but we do want to put this in its own group. So we're just going to create a group because we don't have project here. We're going to hit OK. So now we have model view document report inside the project folder, and we have a blank editor here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to select package, and it inserts this in here. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of this help statement, put a space in here, and let's just call it project. Yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Project stakeholders. And we want to make this header 1. So go down here and grab header 1. And there we go. Now we don't need child packages in here because we select package. It checked child packages by default. Let's just turn it off. And we made this adjustment so far in our report. All right, the next thing we need to do is create a fragment. And this is the only place that you can insert SQL, custom SQL. So we're going to right click in here, create template. It defaults to the template type fragment. Otherwise, if you're anywhere else, you've got to make sure you choose fragment, right? And we're going to give this fragment model view stakeholders. It's a name like that should be good enough, right? Group, don't touch this, copy template. We don't need that, just hit OK. And now we have a blank fragment in here that we're going to build to insert into our custom report. Okay, I must note again, you have to do this in fragments, all right? So we're in the fragment here. We want to come up here to this little tool, document options. We're going to go ahead and select it. And we're going to go down here and select custom query. We're on by default custom query. and we're going to put our query statement right in here. So we bring in our query statement from our tested SQL, and we're going to hit OK, right? So now we have that running when this fragment runs. Let's bring in some fields. So we're going to go down here in the writer, and the only thing we're going to check is custom. And then we don't need this space in there. We just need one space in here. And let's bring in our elements from our SQL. And remember what those elements are. We are going to go ahead and put those in. So we're going to right click in here, insert custom field, and we're going to type what that field is. And the first one we want is name.project, because remember in our SQL statement, that's what we call the author name in this query from the authors table, right? Then what we're going to do is we're just going to put in a space. You could put a dash or any other marker in here, and we're going to insert another custom field, and that field is project. Make sure you spell it right. Project, probably best to copy it from your SQL statement. Project role, all right? So now we're going to hit save to make sure we save it. Now we have a new fragment model view stakeholders in here for our model view report. We're going to right click in here and we're going to insert template, left click, and we can see that these are the choices we have from our fragments, and model view stakeholders is the one we want. And now that is inserted that into this custom report. Let's make sure we save, Control S, or come up here and hit the icon, and let's run our custom report. So we're going to go where we have where we want to report from, and anywhere in here, we can hit F8, function key 8, and it knows we're on this stakeholders package, and we want to run a report. And I'm going to go with stakeholders as the name, but we have to make sure we choose our new report that's in here. Model view element report is the one we created, right? You see right here in resources that's available to us. And let's go ahead and generate and see what the results are. So it's done, view, and there you go. The name, a space, and analyzer. The role, right? So we're going to go ahead and close this. And let's say we want to do some formatting. We want to put in a dash or a slash, just something like that. And we're going to hit save. We're going to come back over here, hit function key 8 again. It remembers all our setting. Let's test this result. And let's hit view. Now we have a dash in here. Let's say we want to format the text, all right? So we're going to close this. We're going to go to the fragment itself. We're going to select everything in here. You can see right now it's Times New Roman 10-point font. We want to change this to Calibri, and we want to make this a little larger. Let's go 12-point font here. Make sure you hit save. We're going to go back and we're going to run the report again. All right, let's go ahead and generate, and let's hit view, and there we go. That's been formatted. All right, so you have the name, dash, and the role. So what we want to do next is we don't like this layout. We want it in a table, right? So what we're going to do is close this, go back to our fragment right here, and let's bring in a table. So we're going to create a space first, and then we're going to insert our table. So we go to that space right here, make sure that we're here, and you see up here in the ribbon, we have table. We're going to insert a table, and we want the table to have 2 rows, but we only need 2 columns because we're only bringing in 2 fields. And we're going to give this a header, and we're just going to call it name. You could call it something else, anything that you want. We want a header in our table, and we're going to format this. Again, we don't want Calibri. Times New Roman. We want Calibri, and maybe we want it bold, and maybe we want it 12 points or 14 points. Make it 14 a little larger than the text we're going to put in here. And you could do other formatting your table, background, and all of that stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to grab this field. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to cut it and I'm going to put it in the table. Then I want this field. I'm going to grab this field. I'm going to Control X to cut it out and then Control V to paste it. I definitely don't want a space, and I want to remove this space and that dash. So I have an opening tag custom and a closing tag custom, and we have our inserted table here. I'm going to hit save. Now we're going to go back to the model we want to report on, the name in the namespace we want to report on, and we can select this, hit Alt-G, takes us right to it. But we don't need to do that, but we can, just to remember we're on the right reporting namespace. And we have this element in here. This element doesn't need to be in here because it's not printing in the report, but we're going to leave it in here and we're going to test this. So we're going to hit function key 8 again. We're going to bring up the generate documentation report. And again, you can get that publish and then go to here to report builder and then choose generate documentation. We're not changing anything here. We're going to test this report. We hit generate and we hit view. Right now we've got the title that was in our report, just title. We have our inserted fragment. Here's our fragment, and these are the results. So we've got a name column and we have a role column. Now for this demonstration, I want to prove a point. We're going to close this and we're going to go back over here. We're going to remove this element, all right? Now, we're not deleting it from the project. It's right here. We can drag and drop it in anytime. But I want to remove it from the diagram. And then what I want to do is run a report on this blank diagram, all right? So we're going to hit function key 8. We're leaving everything in here, generate and view. There it is. Let's go ahead and close this report. Let's bring back in our model view element in here. Let's hit save. And for this demonstration, let's show another use of the new fragment that we created for other reports, any report. All right, let's go ahead and close stakeholders. Let's go over to project browser. Let's find another model. Let's find a simple one, business requirements. So this one right here. So we're going to hit function key 8, bring up the generator. Here we go, generate documentation dialog. We're going to use scope analysis on this one. Let's go ahead and open the template, right? Now in the template, we want to find where element tag is. That's way down here, I believe. Here it is. This is good enough. All right, so element tag is right here. We have a fragment that's inserted here. It's not the element. You don't want to do it the element because otherwise it's going to keep running the fragment over and over. What we're actually looking for is the top or the diagram, right above the diagram. And let's type in stakeholders, and then I want a space. And then right here, after the title stakeholders, insert template. All right, so this is the fragment that we're bringing in. So fragment, we go over to resources. This is the fragment that we're bringing in. And let's give stakeholders header 1. Yeah, header 1. This is header 2. I wonder if I want to use header 2. Let's go ahead and change this to header 2. All right, and then see what that looks like. All right, and then come back up here and format. All right, we're going to save the revised template. We're going to go back over here. We're going to hit function key 8 to bring up generate documentation dialog. We're on the reporting template that we want to use. Let's hit generate and view and look at the outcome. So when we go to view, we're leaving the page break in there, all right? So right where it starts with requirements, if we look at the template, right where it starts with requirements, which is at the very top here, there are none of these other, here's where business require, the package name, right? Package name, business requirements, that's the package we're on, right? It then goes down. There were none of the other elements in the report, so there's nothing reported. And then we get down right above the diagram where we see stakeholders, and we're getting our fragment reporting here only one time, right? And this is the entire report. If you were to put it at the element level, If I go back all the way to diagram, okay, we inserted here. If you did it within the element level, every time it ran an element, it would print the stakeholder report. So it cycles through, it hits it once, runs it, then it goes down to diagram, runs the diagram for the package, and then it gets into the elements where it cycles, including child elements. There's nothing in there, right? It cycles through it and runs your report. All right. All right. I hope this video helped you. We learned how to create our custom SQL. You learned that in another video. We learned how to create a template, a custom template to insert a fragment that we're able to reuse in any report to create the outcome that we're looking for. All right. So thanks again very much for watching. And until the next video, happy modeling.